Hi and welcome to this review of Codex Tau Empire that GW have very kindly sent me free of charge for your reviewing pleasure. And I have to start by saying, wow. So I've reviewed half a dozen of these so far. And this is the first one that I picked up. I casually flicked through it, had no real interest in Tau. By the end of looking through it, I tore open the combat patrol and started building it. And I am halfway through building myself a Tau army at the moment. Oh, my brain just went. Sorry, you got a buffering thing going around my face at the minute. I've completely lost my train of thought. I'm only a minute in. So, let me start again. For me, the concept of Tau has always been around mobile warfare. I've always had private issue with static Tau gun lines because Tau are not meant to be static gun lines. They're meant to be highly mobile. And after reading this, I thought, oh, yes, I can do a mobile army. Superb. I remember what I was going to say. My plan was to have some battle reports ready for release, and for once to do the review after having played a couple of games with it, because I'll get more used to it. I found that with the Genestealer Codex review that I picked up more on. Afterwards I thought, yeah, it would have been good to have mentioned that bit in the review, would have been good to mention this bit. But it's taken me long, because I've been starting from scratch with this army, and I've been trying to get up to 500 points, and I've gone with the really funky, cool white scheme, which I'm enjoying, but it's taking a long time. So far, I've got, what have I got done? I've got stealth suits, fire warriors, and a couple of characters done. I need to do the, the ghost keel suit, and I need to do the, I need to do my Kroot. Kroot. Today's Thursday, and I'd need to film tomorrow and then do this in the afternoon, and I'm not going to get it all done. So, long story long. I haven't got those filmed yet, and hopefully they will be out before release day, so people can at least see things coming out. But my unboxing of the Combat Patrol should be out now, and there will be a hobby vlog of the building and painting quest on that coming in the future. Right, let's get into it. Oh. So, usual format. I'm going to flick through the book and just talk. It's not going to. You've probably worked out already that it isn't going to be succinct. So as with all these books, we've got narrative at the front. We've got the greater good and the use of alien auxiliaries. A nice, cool, colour-coded map of the Tau Empire with lots of little symbols and words. A little bit like the Imperial map, but it's very much in Tau style. It's got the sort of circles and angles and hexagons and lots of different colours. It's very cool. Think about the caste system. An explanation of the fire caste, earth caste, water caste, air caste. Then a 2-pager on the on Ethereals, what they're all about. Then we've got the Anushi, the Master of the Blade, the hero of Firevash. It's a 1-pager on him, pretty picture, a few paragraphs. Then it goes into a lot more detail about the fire caste, because obviously that's the military mainstay of the Tau Empire, and tactical philosophies and military organisations. Big page on that. There's an interesting bit here of societal ranks, and a lot of the Tau words are sort of punctuated, they're sort of double-barreled, like Gweila, Shazvray, all those sorts of things. Well, it's an explanation of what La, We, Vray, L, and O actually mean. La is warrior, We is veteran, Vray is hero, L is noble or possibly knight, and O is commander, which I like. So you might be something like a Shan Al, which would be a... that doesn't work. That doesn't fit. What's Al? I've obviously missed a bit. It's probably coming across that I don't know Tau terribly well. And before I do my first battle report, I've got to have a good read of this to make sure I get all the narrative references right. Not so hard with just combat patrol, but the more I play them. But the problem I'm having at the moment is they just keep bringing out new stuff I want to do. I thought, you know what, I could do a good few months on Tau and get myself a nice hunter cadre built up. Pictures of the Avatar of Cain came out today. It's like, finish the combat patrol, then do that. Section on battlesuits, and then battlefield support. Secondary armor systems and drones. Now there is a picture on there are pictures here of both types: gun drone, marker drone, shield drone, guardian drone, grav inhibitor drone, pulse accelerator drone, shielded missile drone, tactical support turret, stealth drone, missile drone, recon drone. Pictures. But more importantly, there are pictures of the support systems. I don't know about you, but whenever I pick up a Tau model I'm not familiar with, or try and build, to be honest, some of the older models, Gambit has got a whole load of them. We were sat there going, is that a multi-tracker? I don't know. It could be a target lock, I'm not sure. But these have now got pictures of them all on here, so you can see what a multi-tracker looks like, what a target lock looks like, and I like that. I like that a lot. 2-pager on Commander Shadow Sun, the spearhead of the greater good. Then there's a 2-page narrative Gubbins. Then we have a section on the spheres of expansion, first, second, third, and the fate of the fourth sphere of expansion. So, good bit of background expanded. Then Warzone Chalnath. I have to say, I tend to switch off with the Warzone stuff because I don't pay much attention to those Warzone books. Then a pager about various different septs. So the Tau Sept, the oldest and wisest. Tau Sept is the blazing beacon for the light of the greater good. It's the candle of the Tau Empire and the greatest seat of culture and wisdom, not to mention a byword for military excellence. Phenomenally well defended, rich in history and infrastructure, it is to all of the septs, a sept's world is to its satellite planets and moons. So, yeah, you've been told. You are the septs, you're nothing. Then Vior'la, the warrior sept, which I need to not pronounce Viola. Vior'la. The name Vior'la can be translated as meaning hot-blooded. This is certainly a fitting description for the Tau who hail from this sept. Its fire caste enclaves are hugely populous, ensuring a swift and constant flow of naturally talented recruits to bolster Vior'la's armies, whilst the sept's air caste has produced some of the finest atmospheric pilots in the Empire's history. I am totally going to paint up my Aeronautica Tau. Then Sake, the stilled storm. Sake was not an easy sept to establish. The worlds are hot, lashed by ferocious natural phenomenon and the fiery anger of their star. The Tau not only overcame these challenges, but they also established such numerous and prosperous dome cities that Sake sept is now the most populous of all Tau-controlled systems. Bork'an, The Forge of the Empire. Bork'an is a sept blessed in both material riches and scientific academia. The former flows to the sept world from the bountiful mineral mines of its sister planets. There it is put into service by the latter, the Earth Caste scientists employing their system's riches to fashion remarkable new technologies that benefits the entire Tau Empire. Daliath, the Blooded Sept. Daliath's sept bore the brunt of the Imperium's Damocles crusade. Its sept world was the stage upon which that conflict's last punishing battles played out, and was terribly ravaged by their violence. For all this, Daliath is perhaps the best example of the Tau Va in action, for it has risen from the ashes thanks to cooperation and indomitable determination. Then at the Farsight Enclaves, the Renegade Sept. At the end of the second sphere of expansion, Oshavar led a force across the Damocles Gulf, his mission to reclaim those Tau colony worlds lost to Imperial aggression. Initially, Commander Farsight's dynamic leadership saw world after world taken back from the humans, who had been forced to turn their attention to other threats. Then came Arthas Moloch, and a disaster. I want to read this now. Read that later. Then Oshavar, Commander Farsight, a hero and traitor. Oshavar is the most divisive figure in Tau history. He is the greatest warrior ever born of the Vior'la sept. He is a protege of Commander Puretide. He won great victories on Daliath and beyond the Damocles Gulf. Yet he is a traitor who has renounced the rule of the Ethereal High Council and, by extension, Tau Va itself. My friend Puretide plays Puretide. Kroot, then a section on Kroot and how they got involved with the Tau in the first place, and how they are their sort of mercenary lifestyle, who they work for. It looks like they'll basically work for anyone apart from Chaos or Orcs. Subspecies, talks about Kroot hounds and Krootoxes and all that good stuff. Now we get on to the pretty pictures. And yes, the pretty pictures are all pretty. However, we also have information on markings, unit markings, and how they relate to the Tau Sept, the Shazwi status and how they're denoted on the armour of the Fire Warriors. Very handy. Then on the next page we've got the suits, how the helmets on the suits denote different status. Sensor veins, the whole helmet being coloured. Yeah, I mean, the general gist is if you've got a red head, you're in charge. But, yeah. It's good to be able to reference that so you know how to do it. Then we've got some more suits. And this is a page of suits with like 4 black Templars in the corner of the picture going, meep! Storm Surge. Storm Surge has got a big gun. Some pictures of the flyers. A few Kroot. There's a Vespid in there. Someone suggested a while ago on one of the interweb places I was kicking about that the Vespids were going to get new models. My recent experience has been that if GW are working on a new model range and they can't get the pictures into the codex in time, they leave pictures out, so they don't put the pictures of all models in. So my suspicion, it's just a suspicion, is that the Vespid are not getting a redo. Then we've got big picture against Necrons with all the vehicles, the tide walls and stuff. They're kind of cool. Oh, look at those. Oh, now we're into the rules. That's come round quickly. It was only 14 minutes, and the first 3 minutes was spent with me drivelling. Okay, there's a page here on the combat patrol, etc., etc. Okay. So, detachment abilities. The Farsight Enclaves basically get a different keyword to everything else. Cadre command. You can include a maximum of one commander in each detachment, except for Farsight Enclaves. They can do something different. Farsight Enclaves can have 2 commanders per detachment. Independent power. You cannot include ethereal models in a Farsight detachment. Farsight Enclaves. Sept tenants. Alright, these are your army special rules. Yeah, you've got to all be from the same tenant, and you get the tenant. Warlord Stratagems, signature systems, which are basically the relics. Okay. Then we have the various rules for the septs that we already know. So the Tau Sept. The Sept tenet is coordinated fire arcs. So exceptionally drilled and responsive are the warriors of the Tau Sept that their fields of fire shift and overlap with inescapable efficiency. Reroll 1 hit roll or 1 wound roll per attack. 3 inches to the range of auras. And each time a model intones an invocation that is not an aura. Right, okay, so back in 8th Ed everything was an aura, but in 9th now some things are still auras, but some are pick a unit within 6 inches. This adds 3 inches to the pick one within. It'd be really handy if they came up with a name for that, because there's like 4 lines of text here that explains that. That's probably everywhere. Grumble. So basically, 3-inch range to all your command stuff, and a reroll wound or shot per time a unit shoots or attacks. Warlord trait Strength of Conviction is a 5+ shrug. Signature system Vectored Maneuvering Thrusters, +2 to the character's move. Once per battle round, if the bearer is selected as a target for a charge, if it's not within engagement range of an enemy unit, it can use this relic. If it does, make a normal move. Basically, you declare it as a charge and it runs away. Which is nice. That's the sort of mobile... I think the G-Steelers have got one like that. I used that a little while ago. It's good. It gives that sort of cat and mouse feel to the game. Then the Stratagem, 2 CP, Focused Power. The Tau Sept doctrine heavily emphasises the massed concentration of fire upon a single target at a time, obliterating each component of the enemy force in succession with a series of unrelenting barrages. I'm going to paraphrase the verbiage, but if you wound a unit in the shooting phase, you spend 2 command points, and then every other unit that shoots at it, every other core unit that shoots at it gets +1 to wound. So that's Tau Sept. Vior'la, my sept. The Vior'lan Tau push the limits between blistering aggression and perilous incaution. Renowned for their hot-blooded tendencies, these natural warriors prefer proactive battle strategies that set the enemy onto the back foot from the very beginning and keep them off balance until their inevitable defeat amidst a hurricane of firepower and swiftly redeploying Tau Cadres. Strike fast. Start your first turn. For each unit of your army that's wholly within your deployment zone, until the end of the turn, add 2 to your move characteristic. +2 move on turn 1. You can reroll advance rolls and charge rolls for your unit with this tenant. Assault weapons all round, I think. Warlord trait. Academy Luminary. Each time you spend a command point to use a strategic ploy or Wargear Stratagem on a 3+, that command point is refunded. I think it's somewhere in the core rules that you can't regain more than 1 point a turn. Interesting. I don't play that. Signature system, automated armor defenses, commander model only. Start of your shooting phase, roll 1d6, 2 to a 4. The closest enemy unit within 18 inches invisible, blah blah blah, takes 1 mortal wound. 5+, and within 12 inches it's a D3 mortal wounds. The best defense is a good offense. Hot-blooded stratagem, 2 command points. If you shoot the closest eligible target, unmodified wound rolls of 6 inflict mortal wounds in addition to normal damage. Oh, with Fire Warrior squads. Oh, hot-blooded indeed. Mortal wounds in addition. Okay. Sake. Masters of Urban Warfare. Oh, interesting. There are few more perilous and nightmarish battlefields than those created with when a tangled cityscape is plunged into ruinous war. Yet it is amidst such conditions that the Tau of Sake Sept excel. There's lots of words, reading, word brain. They make an art of fighting through half-collapsed cities, knowing just how to exploit this inimical environment to their advantage. If the enemy shoots at a vehicle, if it's more than 18 inches away, it gets dense cover, so -1 to hit vehicles over 18 inches. Infantry get that more than 12 inches away. Vehicles and battlesuit models with this tenant do not suffer the penalty incurred to their hit rolls for firing heavy weapons at enemy units that are within engagement range of them. So vehicles and battlesuits don't have -1 to hit when shooting into combat. Somewhere in here it says battlesuits can shoot into combat. We'll find that as we're going. Get comfy. Warlord trait, Strategic Conqueror. Command phase, select a unit within 9 inches. It gains OBSEC. Signature system, grab inhibitor field. Start the fight phase. All enemy units with engagement range of this bearer are not eligible to fight this phase until after all eligible units from your army have done so. And -1 to hit in combat. This against the signature system. Orbital uplink, 1 CP. Use the stratagem in your shooting phase. Select one enemy unit. Ignores cover. Daliath. The armies of Daliath Sept are renowned for their high concentrations of alien auxiliary forces and for the diversity of technologies and armaments such allies bring. Interesting. I haven't read this page. You may infer that already. Each time a ranged attack is made against an infantry unit with this tenant, blah 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 blah, get the benefit of light cover. If you select a tactical philosophy at the start of the battle, auxiliary units who are in the same detachment benefit from your army's selected tactical philosophy. How interesting. We'll come on to those. Warlord, Unifying Influence. Warlord gains the following abilities. 2 auras. Diplomatic Excellence aura. When an auxiliary unit is within 6 inches of this Warlord, add 1 to its leadership. Integrated command structure. When an auxiliary unit is within 6 inches of this Warlord, it can get the benefit of Markerlights. Signature system, Dynamic Mirror Field. The bearer cannot be selected to target for ranged attacks unless it's the closest eligible unit or within 12 inches. 5+ invulnerable save. Outflank. 1 core or auxiliary unit that is within 9 inches of the battle edge. You can remove the unit and place it in strategic reserve. Outflank. Psst, you guys, go round that way. Ah! Ah! What was that? You said okay. Oh, good. Bork'an. The cadres of Bork'an Sept epitomise the Tau application of technological supremacy as the solution to every challenge. The fearless progressives of their Earth Caste experiment and refine constantly to ensure that when the armies of Bork'an march to war, They are armed and armoured with the highest specification wargear in the Tau Empire. Sept Tenet, superior craftsmanship. Add 4 to the range characteristic of raised weapons. Ah! Each time a ranged attack is made with a weapon that has a strength of 7 or less against a vehicle, subtract 1 from the strength of that attack. Snazzy. Warlord trait, Seeker of Perfection. Each time the Warlord makes a ranged attack, improve the armour pen by 1. A modified wound roll of 6 inflicts mortal wounds up to in addition to any normal damage. Signature system, Overdrive Power Systems. Select 2 weapons. If you're within half range, you add 1 to the wound roll. Experimental Weaponry, 2 CP. Oh! Oh, I hadn't read this. Oh! Oh! Sorry, I feel faint. I need a drink. Keep you in suspense now. The shooting phase, pick a unit, pick a model in a unit, pick a weapon on a model in a unit. That weapon ignores invulnerable saves. A Bork'an unit from your army selected to shoot. Doesn't say core, just Bork'an. So, Hammerhead, 2 CP, you ignore invulnerable saves. Storm Surge, 2 CP, that gun ignores invulnerable saves. There goes your knight. And last, but maybe least, I don't know, the Farsight Enclaves. Devastating Counter-Strike. Each time a model with this tenant makes a ranged attack that targets a unit within 12, the unit is treated as having a Markerlight token. Each time a unit with this tenant is selected to shoot or fight, you can reroll 1 wound. Warlord trait, Master of the Killing Blow. On a modified wound roll of 6, the armor penetration characteristic increases by 3. That the model that attack each time the Warlord makes an attack, the model that the attack is allocated to cannot use any rules to ignore the wound it loses. Okay. The reason I'm umming and ahhing is I'm not sure how I feel about the rules that just casually ignore lots of other rules, because the rules they ignore represent a huge, broad spectrum of reasons for why they ignore damage. Do I think a Great Unclean one should be able to ignore damage from this? Yes, I do. I don't think a Tau Commander is really going to know where to shoot a Great Unclean one. To mean that it can't use Disgusting and Resilient. But that was the reason for my furrowed brow. Signature system, the Talisman of Arthas Moloch. Your opponent's psychic phase, the bearer can attempt to deny 1 psychic power as if it were a psyker. Add 1 to deny the witch test taken for the bearer. That sounds dodgy. Then drop zone clear, 3 or 2 CP. Use this strategy in your movement phase when a Farsight Enclave Battlesuit from your army is set up in the battlefield using the Manta Strike ability or the Homing Beacon action. Until the end of the turn, each time a Battlesuit model... I'm going to nod off here. Each time a Battlesuit model in that unit makes a ranged attack, you can reroll hit rolls and reroll the wound roll. If that unit contains 4 or more Battlesuits, this stratagem costs 3 points, otherwise it costs 2. Right, reroll to hit and reroll to wound on the turn you set up Battlesuits. I really wish they'd have carried on having the simple one-line summary and then all the detailed verbiage underneath. I really do. Right, now, there's... this is really... This is really interesting. Bear with me. I thought I remembered this off the top of my head. I don't. Right, yes. So, I think I can show you this bit. There's a map of the Tau Empire. This is for if you want your own sept, if you don't want to use the ones in the book. There's a map of different sectors, and there's a big list of rules for each sector, and your Tau sept takes 2 rules. You can't have 2 from one sector, and your second rule must be from an adjacent sector. So the notion being, where are we? The notion being that, okay, your world is sort of here. It's here. It's between yellow and red, or your world might be over here between red and blue, but it can't be in the middle of red and green because of interplanetary geography. But depending on where your world is, there are different things that you can actually take, which I think is really cool. I really like that. I'm not going to go through what all they are. There's many, many, many bits. Right. Stratagems. There's a lot of these, and I'm not going to go through all of them, but I'm going to try and glance through all of them, so this might take me a minute. This is where there would be a big advantage in having already played a game. Breach and clear. For a breacher team, enemy doesn't receive the benefit of cover, and you can reroll to wound. 1 CP. Nice. Relentless Fusillade. Strike team. Instead of using the normal rules for rapid fire weapons, you just make double the normal attacks. Improve the armor characteristic, the AP, by 1. So, if you just stay sat where you were, 1 CP, fire twice at full range. Onboard sensors, 1 CP. Select a devilfish and an enemy unit within 2 foot. Until the end of the phase, the devilfish gains this ability. It's a bit of a weird way of doing it, but while a friendly fire warrior team within 6 inches of the model, each time it shoots at the enemy, it rerolls hit rolls of 1. Basically, your fire warriors get out of your devilfish. They can reroll 1s against the target that the devilfish lights up that's within 2 foot. Dynamic offensive crisis suit stratagem, 1 CP. Don't roll to advance. You move 6. No penalty for hit rolls for firing assault weapons if you've advanced. Pulse Onslaught. For a Fire Warrior team, to the end of the turn, each core model that makes an attack, so not the drones, not the other stuff, unmodified roll of 6 wounds the target. Point Blank Volley. This made me smile. You start your shooting phase, shoot at an enemy that's in engagement range until the end of the phase. Pulse blasters, carbines, pulse rifles are treated as having the type characteristic of pistol 2. So the Tau Fireworks can basically shove the muzzle under your chin and pull the trigger. So your guns become pistol 2. So if you've stayed in combat, you don't have to fall back so you don't shoot. You can just plug them. Okay, you can't fight, but you can still shoot with whatever weapon you've got. Okay, you have to spend command points on it, but it's so cool. Drop threat acquisition. Movement phase when a battlesuit unit is set up from a manta or from a homing beacon. Reroll the hit roll. What? I thought that was... Ah, no. So what I mentioned this earlier, the Farsight Enclaves get reroll the wound roll, drop zone clear, and anyone can do drop zone acquisition, either 3 or 2 CP, for any battlesuit, basically on the turn in which you set it up. They're all the battle tactic ones. We're now onto the epic deed ones. Savior protocols. So this is where you can use a drone to... The concept of drones taking wounds for models and just getting in the way as a general rule, what it used to be called for the greater good, that's gone. That's not in here at all anymore. You can spend a CP to do it if the drone is within 3 inches of you, or within 6 inches if you have a drone controller. Branched Nova Charge. So for a Riptide, 2 CP, that uses this Nova reactor and it burns out. For 2 CP, the Nova reactor does not turn out, and you can burn out and can select one of its abilities. Cannot be used to prevent the same reactor from burning out more than once per battle. Haven't read that bit in Riptide because I haven't got one. So something bad happens if you burn out your reactor. This can, 2 CP, that didn't happen. We've got fail safes. Combat Demarcation, very possibly my favourite stratagem in the whole book. I read this and I thought, I'm going to paint these town now. Combat Demarcation. Though the technique is frowned upon as dangerously reckless. Yes, please. The most dedicated and aggressive fire warriors sometimes spring from their moving transports, roll with the impact of landing, and come up with pulse weapons already blazing. Hell yeah! Use the stress at the start of your movement phase. If you selected the Mon-Ka tactical philosophy at the start of the battle, and it's the first, second, or third battle round, select 3 Devilfish. This will make sense in a minute. Actually, this will make... So, a bit later on in here, you get to choose either Mont-Ka or Kauyon. And basically, Mont-Ka, if I get this the right way around, is aggressive. Is aggressive, and Kauyon is defensive. Mont-Ka is in effect for the first 3 turns of the game. Kauyon is in effect for the last 3 turns of the game. And there are multiple stratagems that say if Mont-Ka is in effect, or if Kauyon is in effect, you can do certain things. So depending on whether you're being aggressive or defensive. But basically, it lets units disembark from the Devilfish after moving. If you chose Mont-Ka and you're in Mont-Ka, you can do 3. So if you're being aggressive, you can push 3 Devilfish up the table and get the units out and shoot with them. If you're being defensive, you can retreat with 3 Devilfish and get the units out and shoot with them. If you're doing neither of those, so if you chose Mont-Ka but actually it's the last turn of the game, or if it's the first turn of the game and you've chosen Kauyon, you can do it with to 1 Devilfish. So 1 CP, 3 Devilfish if you're doing it in line with your tactical philosophy. I love that. It's not terribly complex. There's 2 options and you pick one of them before the game starts. And you go, yeah, do you know what? We're fighting orcs here. Do you know what we're doing? We are doing a fighting tactical retreat. Or actually, it's Eldar or whatever. We want to get close and shoot them. And there's a nice thing in a bit here. We're saying Kauyon isn't necessarily withdrawing defeat. It could be, you can have an aggressive Kauyon, which actually is like laying the trap, setting the lure, and bringing them in, and then bang, Wisdom of the Many, 2 CP. That's the auto use your Ethereals are basically like chaplains, so they can do a stirring speech on the roll of a something or other. This one, if you haven't already done your stirring speech, it lets you do it for 2 CP without having to roll. Fail-safe detonator. Basically, you can blow up a battlesuit and do mortal wounds. Backup AI, 1 CP. Select a town model, not a vehicle. It counts as having its full wounds remaining. So you could do that in a battlesuit that isn't a vehicle. Then you've got extra relic, extra warlord trait. Then we're on to the next page. Orbital ion beam. Place 2 CP. Place 2 ion markers anywhere on the battlefield within 12 inches of each other. At the start of your next command phase, draw a straight line between the two and roll a d6 for anything that crosses it. On a 2 to 5, it takes d3 mortal wounds. On a 6, it takes 3 mortal wounds. Sorry. Wall of Mirrors. Use distract at the end of your movement phase. Select 1 stealth battlesuit or ghost keel that's wholly within 9 inches of the battle edge. Remove the unit. Set it back up on the battlefield the next turn anywhere that's wholly within 9 inches of the edge and more than 9 inches from enemy models. Okay. The Grisly Feast. By devouring the flesh of fallen foes, Kroot believe they also absorb the enemy's vigour and vitality. I'm going to enjoy this a second. Using the stratagem in the fight phase, when an enemy unit is destroyed by an attack made by a model in a Kroot unit from your army, until the end of the battle, each time a model in that Kroot unit would lose a wound, roll 1d6. On a 5+, that wound is not lost. So you kill a unit, spend a CP, you eat them, and then you get a 5+ shrug for the rest of the battle. And Kroot have got no armour to speak of, so that's nice. I like that. I want Kroot. Having read the mercenary thing, and yeah, I want Kroot and Krootoxes and Kroot hounds and a shaper, and yeah. Coordinated engagement, 1 CP. Pick 2 units that are within 18 inches of each other and visible to an enemy unit. The attack can only target that enemy unit. And only if it's an eligible target, as though it being behind a rock would have made it targetable. I despair sometimes. Improve the armor pen of that attack by 1. So both you 2 fire warrior units. Yeah, everyone shoots at that. Yeah, okay. AP goes up. AP improves. A trap well laid. I just see the word Kroot and it makes me smile. Use the stratagem in the heroic intervention step of your opponent's charge phase. Select 1 Kroot unit from your army that's not within engagement range of enemy units until the end of the turn. Add 1 to its attack characteristic. That unit is eligible to perform a heroic intervention as if it was a character. And it does it within 6 inches rather than 3. So you just sort of leave your ethereal stood out. And ethereal's there. He's on his own. What could possibly happen to you if you ran up and hit him? Oh, look, a wall of carnivores! Sorry, I'm getting a bit carried away. Recon Sweep. Use this stratagem in your shooting phase when a Pathfinder team, 1 CP, successfully completes the Fire Markerlight option. Each time you roll to see if an enemy unit gains a Markerlight, add 1 to the roll. This unit can then make a normal move. So the Markerlight mechanic I'll go over in a bit, but basically in the command phase you pick a unit and on a 3+ it gets lit up with a Markerlight. That's the crux of it. There's a page of words and it says you do an action and it completes here and does this and does the other. But basically you got a Markerlight, pick a unit within 36 inches, roll a dice, 3+, it's got a Markerlight token. Then I think it's every time you shoot at it you get +1 to hit and then you take the token off. Simples. Shocking Firestorm, 1 CP. Pick an enemy unit within 18 inches. Every model you destroy counts as 2 models destroyed for morale purposes. Counterfire Defense Systems, 1 or 2 CP. When an attack is allocated to a counterfire defense system model from your army, the direct characteristic is changed to 1. If that model has a wound characteristic of 14 or more, the stratagem costs 2 CP, otherwise it costs 1 CP. Ah, no, so if you get hit by... is it shooting phase? It is shooting phase. Like a thermal cannon from an Imperial Knight or something, and it does 8 wounds to you. Counter defense system, engage, engage, and it disperses the heat and energy, and it just sort of washes around your unit and does 1 wound. Designated tasking. 1 CP. This is how you take drones. So drones can't now automatically undock from vehicles that they arrive on. It costs you a CP to spawn them off into a separate unit. Strike and Fade, 1 or 2 CP. Tau Empire jetpack unit. Start of your shooting phase. Start of your shooting phase. You can't do it after you know how shooting ends. Pick a jetpack unit from your army. You can shoot with that unit and then make a normal move of up to 6 inches, and it cannot shoot again this phase. 5 CP, 5 models or fewer, costs 1 CP, otherwise it costs 2. Why 6 inches? Why not just it moves again? I mean, the Eldar one, it's years old now, but it's makes a move of... Fire and Fate says make a move of 7 inches. That's because their move is 7 inches. If a suit's got a move of 10 inches, which they do, why is it 6 inches? Yeah. Right, we're now to the Wargear Stratagems. Frequency Lock. 1 CP. Model makes an attack with a Seeking Missile or Seeking Missile Rack or Destroyer Missile. You can target a unit with a Markerlight on it even if it's not visible, and you add 1 to the attack roll. The wound roll. Neuro Web Jammer Systems, 1 CP. So that 1 enemy unit within 18 inches and visible to a Neuro Web System Jammer. So presumably some of these suits have got Neuro Web System Jammer written on them somewhere. I haven't seen that. Roll a d6 on a 3+. Each time a model in the enemy unit makes an attack, -1 to hit. Okay. Repulsor Impact Field. When an opponent charges at you, they get -2 to charge. Ionized Shock Field. In your shooting phase, when an enemy unit is destroyed as a result of an attack made by an ion weapon, to the start of your next shooting phase, that enemy unit is not affected by the aura abilities of other enemy units. So it shorts out all your Vox, interferes with any kind of psychic link. It's just filled with intense energy aura that just disrupts all sorts of things. Submunitions, 1 CP from a Hammerhead. Select an enemy unit within 3 foot. Roll a d6 for each model in the unit. Add 1 to the roll if the unit has 11 or more models. On a 4+, a mortal wound is taken to a maximum of 8 mortal wounds. Yeah, maximum. Yeah, whatever. Okay, basically, big bada boom, death. Add 1 to the roll if it has 11 or more models. So that's replicating the blast rule there. It would appear. Photon grenades. In your opponent's charge phase, subtract 2 from the unit's charge roll, and then -1 to hit. That's nice. Screw them up with photon grenades. I hope Firewars have got those. Okay, then we've got 2 pages of prototype systems. I'm not going to go through these. They're, as you might expect, it's additional points on a model They can go on Commander models, Crisis Chasvray, Crisis Bodyguard models, or Ghost Keel Chasvray models. Got interesting names like Resonator Warheads, Dominator Fragment Launchers, Nova Surge Plasma Rifle. They all sound very cool. Okay, Warlord traits. There's 2 tables of Warlord traits. One are the Tau Empire Warlord traits, and the other are Kroot Warlord traits. So your Kroot Shaper can have Warlord traits. And because you can give extra Warlord traits, it doesn't have to be a Warlord to have a Warlord trait. And most of these are auras. In fact, they're all auras that buff nearby Kroot. But the Tau Empire Warlord traits: Precision of the Hunter, reroll the hit roll, reroll the wound roll. Through Unity Devastation, units nearby that rogue a wound roll of a 6 improve their armor penetration by 1. Ghost walks amongst us. Subtract 1 to hit against the Warlord. The Warlord adds 6 to advance rather than rolling. Yeah, I'm not going to read the others. Kroot Warlord, because these tend to be much of a muchness. They tend to be very, very similar to all the other Warlord traits in most of the other books, with maybe a slight tweak here or there. I don't really see anything terribly unique in the Warlord traits these days. Maybe that's just me. Is that just me? Maybe it's just me. Kroot Warlord traits: Master of the Hunt. So it's a 6-inch aura. If the Kroot are shooting at a unit within 12 inches, they don't get cover. Pack Leader: Kroot units within 6 inches, when they make a charge, roll an additional dice and discard one of the dice. The Nomadic Hunter counts as having remained stationary in the previous movement phase. So what does that do? I imagine that benefits Krootoks, which have heavy weapons, I think. Then Relics. Let's do 2 of these at random. I say random. Let's do them for the characters that I've got. Kroot model only. Once per battle, so the Brogoth Gland. Once per battle in your command phase, you can use this relic. If it does, until the start of your next command phase, you gain the aura ability. Friendly Kroot within 6 inches. Add 1 to attack characteristic and 1 to strength. Yes, please. The Kindled Blade. Fireblade only. Gains an aura. Fire warriors within 6 inches automatically pass morale tests. Nice. Very nice. Then there's a couple of ethereal ones here. I have an ethereal because I have the box, but I don't intend on using him in a small army. The Humble Stave. You can do an additional invocation per turn and add 1 to the roll. Or the Neuroempathic Nullifier. Once per battle in your command phase, select an enemy unit within 18 inches. Roll a d6 on a 2+. The target cannot perform actions. Or if it's currently performing an action, it immediately fails. This device was fashioned for Anun Jas during the troubled war of integration against the Pogu Ag of the Bazandri cluster. Though they had much to offer and gained by accepting the greater good, the sheer ferocity of the Pogu Ag foiled any effort at a water caste diplomacy. Only by employing the neuroempathic nullifier was Anu Jash finally able to render the aliens docile long enough to open their minds to the offer of unity that the Tau brought. Look, sit down and shut up. I'm talking. Invocations of the Ethereals. Zephyr's Grace, number 3. Select 1 core unit within 3 inches. Each time a ranged attack's made, each time a ranged attack is made against that unit, if it did not remain stationary, subtract 1 from the attack roll, the hit roll. These I tend to find are much of a muchness as well. So this one, reroll morale tests, add 1 to combat attrition tests. Wisdom of the Guides. If this is inspiring, you gain a command point. 5+ shrug. Can make ranged attacks without actions failing. Yeah, which of muchness. Chapter approved rules, so secondary objectives there, not interested in those. Crusade rules, not interested in those. I know you may be interested in them, but they're not things I use, so I am not going to loiter on them. Right. I need to get a bit more comfortable again. It's been nearly an hour, and my back does back things. Right, so we're now on to data sheets and rules. We're just coming on to data sheets. Okay, Philosophies of War. I mentioned this earlier. Mont'ka and Khao-Yom. Mont'ka happens in battle rounds 1 to 3. Each time a unit makes a normal move or advances in the movement phase, it counts as having remained stationary. I'm not 100% sure what that benefits, but I'm sure it will. Each time it makes a ranged attack, the closest eligible unit within range shown on the table below improve the armor penetration characteristic of that attack by 1 and reroll wound rolls of 1. So, battle round 1, 18 inches. So if you're shooting at someone within 18 inches of you in round 1, armor pen goes up by 1 and reroll wounds to 1. Round 2, 12 inches. Round 3, 9 inches. The Khao-Yom becomes active in round 3 and stays there for 4 and 5. The unit is eligible to shoot in a turn in which it fell back at -1 to hit. Each time the model makes a ranged attack against the closest eligible unit within 12 inches, if that model is not within engagement roll, blah 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 blah. On a modified hit roll value in the table below, the attack scores an additional hit if you're shooting at enemies within 12 inches. So basically, you're pushed back at this point. Or you're disengaging, I should say. Battle round 3, 6+ to hit, make an extra attack. Sorry, scores an additional hit, not making an extra attack, scores an additional hit. Round 4, 5+. Round 5, 4+. So in round 5, if you've used Khao-Yom, then when you roll to hit, and you're shooting at a unit within 12 inches, you're getting 2 hits on a 4+ to hit. Okay, there's a few special rules here. Battlesuits. It basically says that battleshoots can fire heavy weapons into combat, but they still suffer the -1, which we touched on earlier with that stratagem. It also says that you can elect to nominate some of your weapons to fire at different targets, but you only get to fire them if the weapons you've put against the unit that your engagement range of kills them. So, if you've got 2 flamers, if you've got a flamer and a missile pod, you can say, right, well, I'm going to fire the flamer at these orc boys that I'm in combat with and fire the missile pod over there at that truck. If the flamer then barbecues the 2 orcs, you're no longer in engagement range, you can fire the missile pod at the truck. If you don't manage to kill the orcs with the flamer, the missile pod doesn't happen. Same as the vehicle rules in the core rulebook, but it applies to the battlesuits. They obviously, for whatever reason, didn't want to just give them the vehicle keyword, so they gave them the battlesuit keyword. Okay, there's a lot of words here. It looks like it's about 30 lines, and it basically says at the start of your movement phase, my apologies, it isn't in the command phase, which I said earlier, it's in the movement phase. It's an action, so you can't move and do this, you have to stay still and do it. Markerlighting is an action that you start at the start of the movement phase and it finishes at the start of the shooting phase. You pick an enemy unit within 36 inches, roll a dice, and on a 3+, they gain a Markerlight token. Then when you shoot, when anyone in the Tau Empire, apart from auxiliary units, shoot at that target, they get +1 to hit, and then the token comes off. So if you were going to fire 5 different units at one enemy, say you've got, I don't know, Hellblasters that you really want to get rid of, and you light them up with 5, you've got 5 units going to shoot at them, you can put 5 Markerlights on them. The first unit shoots, takes a Markerlight token off. Next unit shoots, takes a Markerlight token off. If you run out of Markerlight tokens, then other shots aren't going to get the +1 to hit. But yeah, you can light them up with lots of things. You can stack them all on one unit or not. Manta Strike is Deep Strike 9-inch deployment. Ambushing Predators. At the start of the first battle round, models in this unit can make a normal move of up to 7 inches. They cannot end within 9 inches of enemy models. Oh no, Ambushing Predators. Inspired to Greatness. In your command phase, select one friendly Tau Empire core or auxiliary unit within 6 inches of the ethereal model. While the unit is performing an action, it can make ranged attacks without the action failing. So you could have, I don't know, your ethereal next to your pathfinders. So they can start with the marker lighting, and then you can they can shoot as well. Drones. So they've done an overhaul of drones. Once it's not terribly complicated, but there's a bit to it. Once you've got the hang of it, dead simple. So the vast majority of drones have one profile. 10 inches, 5+ to hit, strength 3, toughness 4, 1 wound, 1 attack, leadership 6, 4 up save. The vast majority of drones have that profile. The only ones that are different, shield and shielded missile drones have an extra wound. Interceptor drones have 20-inch move instead of 10. And a recon drone has 3 wounds. They're the only ones that have different profiles. So by and large, it moves 10, hits on a 5, it's toughness 4 with a 4+ save. Then there's a generic set of abilities for drones. They all have Manta Strike, because you can deep strike them in, assuming every model in the unit has Manta Strike. Valued Sacrifice. Each time a drone model is destroyed, ignore it for the purposes of morale if the unit also contains models without the drone keyword. So if you've got a unit of just drones and one of them dies, they will compute and go, oh heck, we're all getting destroyed, maybe we should run off. But if it's a unit of fire warriors and a drone gets dropped, the fire warriors go, yeah, that's what it's there for. Artificial Helpers. Drone models are ignored for the purposes of the Lookout Sir rule, determining this unit's starting strength and whether the unit is below half strength, and determining the toughness characteristic if it also contains models without the drone keyword. So if you're doing fast dice and you're shooting a unit of fire warriors, they're toughness 3, the fact the drones are toughness 4, irrelevant, you're rolling to wound against toughness 3. You can't use drones for the purposes of Lookout Sir. You can still see the person stood on the ground. But you've got drones that can help you against being shot, which comes up here. And so if you've got a unit of 10 fire warriors and 2 drones, the unit isn't a half strength when you go down to 4 fire warriors, not 5, because the starting strength of the unit to all intents and purposes is 10 fire warriors. You ignore the drones. Limited parameters. If the unit contains only drone models, it cannot perform actions. Yeah, right. Doctor drone. So this is where your devilfish, your piranhas, your hammerheads all have drones docked in them at the start of the game. Any model that's equipped are considered to be equipped by the model that it is docked with instead. Attacks cannot be allocated to this model and does not count as a model on the battlefield for rules purposes. If the model it's docked with is destroyed, the drone model is docked as well. So basically, your devilfish that's got 2 gun drones that both have 2 pulse carbines in, basically you just count the devilfish as having 4 pulse carbines. If you spent the command point we looked at earlier, you can pop them out and generate a drone unit. Then they go off the drone profile, and these are the drone rules. Keywords. All drones have the drone and fly keyword. The drone models do not gain any of the keywords of any units containing them. and for the purposes of interacting with terrain features, drones count as having the infantry keyword. So your fire warrior unit can move through the wall, and the drones can do that as well, rather than just dunk. Okay. Then we have, this is going to be the longest one ever. Then we have the Advanced Guardian Drones. It has a 4+ invulnerable save, and the unit cannot be selected as a target for an attack unless it's the closest eligible unit to the firing model. So a bunch of drones have got 4 up invulnerable save, so rather than the drones intercepting the wound, so you don't shoot at the unit and the attack gets allocated to the unit, and then the drone flies in and goes, "I'll save you," boom. You fire at the unit, the drone is a part of the unit, and your opponent can allocate the wound, or you can choose to allocate the wound to the drone, which then has a 4+ invulnerable save. Which is where, from the shield drones, the fact they have 2 wounds comes in really handy. So you're basically putting an extra 4 wounds in the unit before you get through to the fire warriors, if you've got 2 of those, or crisis suits or whatever. Command link drone. Add 3 inches to the range of the unit's aura abilities. Grab inhibitor drone. Subtract 2 inches from charge rolls made by any unit that declares a charge against them. Guardian drone has a 4+ invulnerable save. Anytime when you're shooting at the unit the drone's attached to, 1s and 2s to wound always fail. So if you're shooting fire warriors with a strength 6 weapon, they're still only going to wound on strength 3. On 3+. Gun drone. 2 pulse carbines. Threat identification protocol. Must shoot at the nearest enemy unit. Interceptor drone. It's equipped with 2 ion rifles. Marker drone has the Markerlight keyword. So Markerlight isn't a weapon, it's a keyword, which is why they've handled it with, in the movement phase at the start, if you have the Markerlight keyword, you can do the action to put a Markerlight token on someone. Missile drone has a missile pod. Pulse accelerator drone. If the unit's firing with a pulse weapon, improve the armor pen characteristic by 1. It's nasty. Recon drone has got a burst cannon, which incidentally is 18-inch range, assault 6. There are about 5 different versions of the burst cannon in this. There's the Piranha burst cannon, the Devilfish burst cannon, this burst cannon, that burst cannon. They've all got different stat lines. Which I don't like. I like the day when you knew a burst cannon was a burst cannon and you knew its stats. I digress. You now have to know. I think it goes against the principle of things being faster. It's been more, the game's streamlined in certain areas, but bloats in areas like that where, okay, it's really quick because you don't have to look up the exact strength and toughness. You just have to know that they're one's higher than the other. But you have to look up the stats for 4 guns that look the same, are conceptually the same, but they've got clear different stats. So, Recon Suite. If the unit's shooting at a target within 18 inches, it doesn't get the benefit of light cover. Shield drone has a 4+ invulnerable save, so there you go. You've got a 4-up invulnerable save drone with 2 wounds that basically you just allocate the attacks to, and it soaks up the damage. A shielded missile drone has a missile pod and a 4+ invulnerable save. Sniper drone has a long shot pulse rifle, which is 48-inch range, rapid fire 1, strength 5, -2, 1 damage. A stealth drone. This unit cannot be selected as the target for ranged attacks unless it's the closest eligible target to the firing model, or the firing model is within 18 inches of it. Which is nice. I don't see the point of the Ghost Kill having 2 of them. Right, we're now on to profiles. I'm not going to go through everyone in detail because we would be here for another hour. Commander Shadowson, Commander Farsight, let's skip over. Commander in Crisis Battlesuit. Obviously, Battlesuit, Manta Strike. Master of War. Core Sept units within 6 inches reroll hit rolls of 1. Tactical Acumen. You can select 1 friendly Crisis suit within 9 inches of the command phase. And until the end of the turn, It's eligible to shoot and declare a charge in a turn in which it fell back. Each time a core model of that unit makes a ranged attack, you can ignore any or all hit modifiers. So this is a nod back to 8th ed before they changed it, where flying units could fall back and shoot. So your commander with his battlesuits can do that. That's tactical acumen. Now the commander in Enforcer battlesuit doesn't have Master of War and tactical. Oh yeah, it does have Master of War. Doesn't have tactical acumen. Has hardened armor. Subtract 1 from the damage characteristic of incoming fire. And a resolute fire base. Pick one friendly unit within 9 inches in your command phase. The unit gains obsec. The commander has toughness 5, 6 wounds, 3 up save, move 10. All the suit. Oh, they're not all move 10. 2+ ballistic skill, 3+ weapon skill, 3+ save. The Enforcer battlesuit has a 2+ save, only moves 8 inches, and has an extra wound. I guess that's the trade-off. Commander in a Coldfire battlesuit. Manta Strike, he has the Master of War as well. He also has high altitude manoeuvres. Once per battle starting movement phase, you can remove this unit from the battlefield. Then in the reinforcement step of that phase, you can do one of the following. Set the unit back up on the battlefield anywhere that's more than 9 inches away from any models. If the mission you're playing has strategic reserves, you can place the unit into strategic reserves, so your Cold Star battlesuit can just take off again. Aggressive tactics. In your command phase, you can select one friendly crisis unit within 6 inches. Each time it advances, do not make an advance roll, they move 8 inches to advance instead. Nice. Aggressive tactics. Cold Star battlesuit moves 14. Again, 7 wounds, 3+ saves. They're all different in terms of the amount they can move, the wounds, the save. There's different, and the buffs are different as well. I like that. It's not just about what guns they've got. They give you different abilities that means that your army can play in different ways. That, to me, is a reason to get one of each. Uh-oh. Cadre Fireblade. Okay, so he has a Fireblade pulse rifle, so his gun is better. Strength 5, -2, 2 damage. Nothing particularly impressive about his profile. He has a Markerlight. He can have 2 drones. Volley fire. When a core unit is within 6 inches of him, and with a pulse weapon and a modified hit roll of 6 scores an additional hit. So you put him with. You used to give everyone an extra attack, which was nice. Gross, especially if you put a whole bunch of them in Devilfish and Rasdom 4. We've got them all out. We're going back a while now. A lot of shots. But yeah, it's buffing. If you keep him with a whole bunch of Fire Warriors, it's buffing them all. Target sighted. Your command phase. Select a Fire Warrior team within 9 inches. That unit rerolls 1s to hit ranged attacks. Kroot Shaper. So he has got an ambushing predator, so he gets a 7-inch move at the start of the game, as do all the Kroot. I think it's all the Kroot. Wisest of their kind. Kroot can use his leadership instead of theirs. His leadership's 8. The Shaper commands. Reroll hit rolls of 1 within 6 inches. Stealthy Hunter. Add 1 to armor saves if you're in cover. Nice. Ethereal. They can do the invocation thing that we mentioned earlier. There's nothing particularly impressive about their profiles. They can have a hover drone, which gives them 10 to move in the fly keyword. Inspired to greatness, they can cast the things that we talked about earlier. Failure is not an option. While a friendly core unit is within 6 inches, you can use his leadership instead of their own. His leadership is 10. Auxiliary units can't use them now, they can Farsight. Embodiment of the Empire. This unit cannot be drawn from Farsight Enclaves. Then we've got a couple of special characters. More special characters. Strike Team. Okay, so nothing particularly interesting. The pulse rifle is strength 5, minus 1 AP. Pulse carbine is strength 5, assault 2. The turret deployment. I don't know if this is different to before, but in the command phase you can deploy turret action, which finishes in the movement phase, and the turret comes down. You've paid for it with points, but then it comes down. Turret's got similar rules to drones. It doesn't count for casualties, that kind of stuff. And in your movement phase, if you move the unit, you can take the support turret off the table and then redeploy it later on using the action. So basically, the Manta will shoot another one down to next to you, but only if it hasn't been destroyed. So you can't keep using it as free wounds. Breacher Team, similar, same action with the turrets. The Pulse Blaster on a Breacher Team has 2 profiles. Close-up range, 18 inches, assault 2, strength 6, minus 2, 1 damage. Long range up to 14 inches. Assault 2, strength 5, minus 1, 1 damage. Kroot Carnivores. Move 7, weapon skill 3, strength 4, 2 attacks, 6 up save. Kroot Rifle is a bolter. Kroot Rifle in melee is strength user but minus 1 AP. Ambushing Predators we already talked about. Stealthy Hunters plus 1 if they're in cover. Plus 1 to save if they're in cover. And Kroot Pack, this has been up on the Warhammer community site. For every pack of carnivores, you can include a Kroot Riders, a Kroot Hound, and a Kroot Shaper without them taking a battlefield roll. Kroot Riders. Move 7, strength 6, toughness 5, 4 wounds. Kroot Gun, 4 foot range, heavy 2, strength 7, minus 1, 2 damage. It's an auto gun. It's an auto cannon basically. Ambushing Predators. Crisis Battlesuits. So all sorts of different gun profiles and other warning gear. They can still take 4 weapons / equipments in combination. Here's the other war gear. Counter fire defense system. The bearer gains the counter fire defense system keyword, which links into whatever that stratagem was we saw earlier. Early warning override. You can overwatch on a 5+, and you can overwatch. Cost 0 CP to do. Iridium Battlesuit increases the save to 2+. Multi-tracker. If you're shooting at a unit of 6 or more models, I'd want a roll of 6 scores an additional hit. Shield Generator, 4+ save. Target Lock. Enemies don't get light cover. Velocity Tracker. Shooting at enemies that can fly, add 1 to the hit roll. Maximum 1 per model. Otherwise, you'd then put like 3... Someone could choose to put 3 of them on a model, so you get +3. So you take off all their minuses and you're still hitting on +1. I mean, that basically the gist of that is to nullify the aircraft's benefit. And Crisis Bodyguards. So you take a unit of bodyguards. They get the Sworn Protectors rule. Whilst a character is within 3 inches of this unit, they can't be targeted with ranged attacks. If there's a commander in the detachment as well, it doesn't take up a battlefield slot. Stealth suits. Infiltrators to set up 9 inches away from enemy. Camouflage fields. -1 to hit. And +1 to armor save if it's getting a cover save. And it's got a 3+ save anyway. So if it's in cover, it's getting a 1+ save. Obviously that's, ones always fail. But yeah. Burst Cannon. Assault 6. Strength 5. -1. Ghost Keel Battlesuit. Kind of similar. I'll go through that. Farsight Marksman. 3 3 sniper drones. Sniper drones have a ballistic skill of 3+. They can ignore the lookout rule. Marksman stealth field, you can't shoot at them without 12 inches. Pathfinder team, Vanguard, they can move 7 inches at the start of the game, first battle round. Piranhas. The Piranha have the Piranha Burst Cannon and the Piranha Fusion Blaster. The Piranha Burst Cannon is Assault 6, Strength 6. The Piranha Fusion Blaster is D6 plus 2 damage and plus 4 if it's within half range. Outflanking harassers. During deployment, they can be set up in enemy lines. You can set them up within 6 inches of the battlefield edge, more than 9 inches away from enemy models in a subsequent turn. Riptide. Anything terribly interesting on a Riptide? Oh, we speculated about the Nova Reactor before. Let's have a look at that. In your command phase, use the Riptide model can use its Nova Reactor. If it does, roll 2d6. If the result is greater than the remaining wounds of the Riptide, the Nova Reactor is burnt out and the ability cannot be used again in this battle. Otherwise, you can select one of the following abilities. Okay, so it's got 14 wounds. The more battered it gets, the more difficult it is to use the Nova Reactor. If you're uninjured, just use it. Either Nova Shield, gives you a 5+ shrug. Boost, make a normal move up to 2d6 inches, but can't charge. During the charge phase, it can move that much. Or Nova Charge. If it's equipped with a heavy burst cannon, it has the type characteristic of Heavy 16. Otherwise, both profiles of that model's ion accelerator have a type characteristic of 8. Heavy burst cannon is heavy. So, okay, there's another burst cannon here. Strength 6, -2, 2 damage, heavy 12. Or ion accelerator. Goes from heavy 6 to heavy 8. Strength 7, -3, 3 damage, or you can overcook it. Strength 8, -3, 4 damage. Possibility of taking a mortal wound. Okay, that's interesting. Tau can take mortal wounds from misusing plasma. Okay, Hammerhead. I mean, this has been discussed quite a lot online, but the Railgun. Heavy 1, Strength 14, -6 AP, D3 plus 6 damage. Each time a successful wound roll is made with this weapon, the target suffers 3 mortal wounds in addition. Invulnerable saving throws cannot be made against an attack. I didn't realise that bit. Click, boom. Devilfish. Armoured Aggression. At the start of the first battle round... Oh, it's also got an Accelerator Burst Cannon. Strength 6, -1, 1 damage, Assault 8, which is kind of nice. Armoured Aggression. Start your first battle round. If you selected Monclar before the start of the battle, the unit can make a normal move of up to 9 inches. It cannot end this move within 9 inches of enemy models. So you can, before you start the game, you can move 9 inches, and then you can command a command point to move and get out and fire. You can be halfway across you can be across the other side of the board at turn 1. Tactical Disengagement. If you've selected Kaiyom, you can remove this unit from the battlefield if it's within 9 inches of battlefield edges and place it in strategic reserve. That's nice, which means you can bring it off the other side of the battlefield in the following turn. Nice. Nice. And the ability to get out and... yeah. The buildings, the Tide Wall and the drone port, I don't think there's a huge amount of detail. I mean, basically these are vehicles that you can get in and they've effectively got some kind of open top rule, so you can shoot out of them. There's 2 interesting things here. One is that rather than having a move characteristic, you can perform an action with the unit. Start the movement phase. Action is completed at the end of the phase, and you can move it 8 inches as if it had the fly keyword. Hang on, why not just give it a move of 8? Why make it to an action? What am I missing? I don't know. But an interesting rule, which is a hark back to 4th ed, is wrecked. If the building is destroyed, on a roll of d6 and a 6 explodes, and then you take off the battlefield, any other result, the building is wrecked. The count is destroyed for all rule purposes. Instead of remaining in the battle, it's treated as an obstacle terrain feature with the following terrain trait: difficult ground, exposed position, and unstable position. It's been a long time since we've had wrecked anything staying on the battlefield and providing cover. That used to be a big part of the game. You know, you'd get out of your tank and you could take cover behind it if it had been wrecked. Interesting. The shield line's got it. The drone port's got it. The gun rig's got it. Now, okay, so we'll end on the Storm Surge. Okay, the Pulse Blast Cannon. Focused shot. Heavy 2. Strength 16. -4. 12 damage. There goes your knight. Dispersed shot. Heavy 6. Strength a mere 12. Only -2. And 4 damage. Yeah. Tau. They can... And that's as far as I'm going to go. However, I know I haven't gone through everything. I'd be here a long time if I was going through everything. But that, to me, having flicked through it and then sort of got a little bit more engrossed in it, that to me feels like the Tau can seriously outshoot their opponent. If they get the right position, they can do real damage to their opponent. They can move like anything else and still shoot. And they can use their technology to mess up your charges with like photon grenades and repulsor fields and all those sorts of things. Yeah, you get into combat with Fire Warriors, they'll still fold like a pack of cards. Do packs of cards fold? They'll fold like a cheap paper hat. But they may well have obliterated you on the way in. There's nothing particular in there about Overwatch. There's a couple of things that tweak it a little bit, but not a lot. None of the supporting fire from previous editions. I don't even know if that was in the last book or not. But the ability to move around fast and engage and disengage, it reads like shadow play. And you've got to actually get to them to hit them, and they could be all over you in no time and then be moving and firing and moving and firing. And that to me just sings of Tau Mobile Warfare. And that's why I really like it. That's why I'm painting Tau. And on that note, thank you for bearing with me for those of you who still have. Quick shout out to my channel members and patrons whose support is helping keep the dream going. Thank you all very much. You are awesome. It is very, very much appreciated. Anyone who wants to support me can do it a number of ways. Just watching videos with ads in is a support. You can become a channel member. Details in the description. Which gives you access to the hobby Discord and to exclusive videos, battle reports, hobby vlogs, all that kind of stuff. Mostly 40k, but also Age of Sigmar and Aeronautica. If you shop at Element Games, you can use my affiliate link, also in the description below. There's also Patreon for anyone who wants to do the Patreon thing. But for just watching my videos is a support, so big thank you. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'm now off to go and paint some more Tau, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.